Hey, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are doing well. We're just going to do chapter 8 and 9 review here. The test will be Thursday morning, 7:30 to 9. No guided notes. Hopefully you noticed that on the modules. So Thursday, posted at 7:30, submit by 9. Okay, again, it will have a point value assigned to the submission. Okay, submitted by 9 will count. I think last time was 5 points. It might be more this time, depending upon how everything else works out. Also, if you run into any issues, tell me before rather than later. Okay, you're coming up, you can't get something to load at 7:30, or you couldn't get something to work. Don't wait till after you submit it and say this is what happened. Do it ahead of time. Okay. Your basement flooded and you had to help with that. Whatever, if something comes up, let me know ahead of time rather than later on that. This assignment is due, okay, Wednesday at 6 p.m. And then what we'll do is I will do a Canvas conference Wednesday night. So at 8 o'clock. So if you want to come on and, whatever last second help, go over a couple things, that's fine. One thing though, I will caution you on time. You have to do a couple of these by hand, some of those ones from chapter 8. And if you kind of make a mistake, you could spend half an hour on one problem and then get stuck at the end. You absolutely have to move forward and come back at the end if you get stuck. Do not just get hung up on one problem where you're going to just sit there. And then that's where you're going to lose on your submission points. Got it? Also, I am going to allow you to have a half sheet of paper with anything you want written on it. So if you got a formula, Kramer's rule, determinants, whatever, half sheet of paper. So just take a sheet of paper, fold it in half, write anything you want, but you need to submit that. Take a picture of it and submit that with your test. So submit picture with test. And that half sheet, you could, like I said, you can put any notes you want, formulas, however you want to put on there. Okay, handwritten, don't be typing anything out. So just take a half sheet of paper, fold it, notebook paper. Okay, we're going to get started here. And this is just going back through the review. Today you got the guided notes. Assignment was due Wednesday at 6. As we talked about, Canvas conference, that's going to be today, 8 to 8:30. No video or assignment on Wednesday, nothing other than to finish the one from Tuesday. We'll conference there 12:30 to 1 and 8 p.m. Okay. Again, post at 7:30, due by 9. And then we'll go over. I'll do I won't do an instructional video, but I'll just do a short description video, just telling you what I want you to do, okay, for the exam review. And then we're going to have to set that up for next week. Again, this will be tied to point value, okay, submitting it by 9 a.m. So understand that. Now you got an hour and a half. It's not designed to be an hour and a half test. It's designed to be a 45-minute test, so you should have plenty of time. Okay. I'll get rid of me here. All right, solve the system. This is from section 8.2, and what we need to do on here is we have to multiply and do substitution or elimination and figure this out. And I'll tell you now, these will be whole number answers. I'm not going to give you like 7/18 on a test or -3/7. Okay, I'm going to give you whole numbers. So that way, if you don't get a whole number, this is where you got to watch your time situation, and you can sit back there and go forever. And then you could be stuck on one problem for an hour. Do not do that. Move on. Try it one time. Whatever you get, keep it. Then when you're done with the test, come back. That would be my suggestion. If you got enough time, sometimes it's better off just starting all over. All right, in this case here, I'm going to get rid of the z's with equation 1 and 2, because right there, you don't need to do anything. And so right here, 3x plus 2x is 5x minus y adds up to 0 equals 17. And now 2 and 3, I'm going to multiply equation 2 by 2. So 2 times equation 2, which is going to give me 4x minus 8y minus 2z equals 24. And then equation 3 is 4x plus y plus 2z equals 14. Looks like 8x plus 9y equals 38. Now, this is a whole goal. It's somehow either through substitution or elimination, you just kind of knock it down from a 3 by 3 to a 2 by 2. So now I have 5x minus y equals 17. I got 8x plus 9y equals 38 for this. Different routes you can go, but I'm going to multiply the top one by 9. That way I only have to multiply one equation. And that gives me 45x minus 9y equals 9 times 17, which is 153. And I got 8x plus 9y equals 38. So what do I get here? That gives me negative 9 plus 9 is 0. 53x equals 153 plus 38, 191. All right, let's see here now. I'm very nervous because these are not typical numbers, and I get a decimal. So I had to have made a mistake. I'm pretty sure I wanted this to work out. So I'm just going to do a quick once over here. I must have done something writing them down or made a mistake multiplying. 4 negative 14. I see something here. Daggone it. Negative 8 plus y. Let's see what happens here. That gives me negative 8 plus y is negative 7y equals 38. Somebody should have told me earlier. Daggone you. So 8x. That's the problem with these. You could spend all day on them if you make a mistake like that. And because that's going to change everything. And let's see, I'm going to multiply now by, what do I want to multiply by? Negative 7. So that gives me negative 35x plus 7y equals 7 times 17, which is 119. And then 8x minus 7y equals 38. That gives me negative 27x, 119 plus 38. And I'm just going to do a quick check. All right, this is not good. 157. All right, we are going to move on, and I'm going to go back and see what happened and then finish this one later. So, because this should come up be whole number answers, I'm doing something wrong. So I'm going to move on, kind of go from here and see where I made a mistake at, or if I wrote down the problems wrong from the original example. All right, now in this case here, solve the system. This is going to be one that gives us infinite solutions and kind of how we go from there. And now there's different ways you might go about doing this one. But if you look at equation 1 and equation 3, so you got x plus 2y plus 5z equals 4. And I got 2x plus 4y plus 10z equals 8. And if I multiply this one by -2, I get -2x minus 4y minus 10z equals -8. And this one is 2x plus 4y plus 10z equals 8. Everything cancels out. I get 0 equals 0. Well, that was my very first step. So I'm kind of stuck. But one thing you can notice is equation 2. So what I can do is I can start with equation 2. I got infinite solutions. I got to solve in terms of y or z in this case here. So I think the easiest way to do this to avoid fractions is I'm going to solve for z. Or excuse me, I'm going to isolate y and get it in terms of z. So I subtract 4z. I get -4z plus 4. So now what I'm going to do, and on your test, if you come up with this, I don't really care whether you do it in terms of x, y, or z. That's going to be however you go through the problem, but you got to make sure we come up with it. You just can't stop and put infinite solutions. All right, now at this point here, I can go back and do one of my original equations. Let's see here. I got y equals -4z plus 4. And let's start, and let's see what I got here. 2x plus 4y plus 10z equals 8. And so 2x, take out the y, put in -4z plus 4 plus 10z equals 8. And that gives me 2x minus 16z plus 16 plus 10z equals 8. And now what do I get here? I'm going to reduce -16 plus 10 is -6z. 2x, I got that, plus 16 equals 8. All right, you need to isolate the x. So I'm going to move the 16 over. I'm going to move the 6z. So I get 2x equals, I'm just going to switch the order, 6z minus 8, and I divide by 2. And x equals 3z minus 4. So here's what we got. Normally we put it in x, y, z notation. The x is 3z minus 4. Our y is -4z plus 4. And we just let z be z. So that's how you have to list. This is how the ordered triples are generated. Now you need to create 3 ordered triples. Probably for this one, it's easiest let z equal 0, 1, or 2. When I do that, I get -4, I get 4, I get 0. If I let z equal 1, I get -1, 0, 1. And then z equals 2. That gives me 2, -4, and 2. You can go back and double check and make sure those all work for all 3 of them. But that's how you have to do infinite solutions. You cannot just stop and say infinite solutions, and you got to get in terms of x, y, or z. All right, now there's going to be some where you need to show me your work. Okay, and if I say do it by hand, that means you have to detail how you find each part. So for a equals -3, 2, 4, and 5, find a squared. Well, you got to remember a squared is you got to write this down. -3, 2, 4, 5 times -3, 2, 4, 5. And you got to use our multiplication. You cannot just square each part. So this is a 2 by 2, and this is a 2 by 2. And all right, now here's how you're going to get that answer. you're going to take this row times this column. Negative 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. Okay, plus 8. And then I'm going to show how I get each step. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Plus 10. 2 times 5. And then you don't necessarily have to circle them. I just need to see this. Negative 12 plus 20. And then that is 8 plus 25. And so in the end, I got 17, 4, 8, and 33. All right. I'm just going to pause here for 1 second. I will be right back. So that's going to be your answer for a squared there. All right, now something like I said I can do, just gotta be a little bit creative with this remote, and usually I have a no calculator and a calculator, which you can use your graphing for the whole thing. But there's so many points where you have to show me your work. All right, so if I'm going to give you two equations or two matrices, and I might say, okay, AB equals C. Find C23. That is second row, third column. You got to understand how to calculate this and show me the actual steps here. So this is a 2 by 3 by a 3 by 3. Okay, so you're multiplying a 2 by 3 by a 3 by 3. So the answer, which is C, will be the first and the last, a 2 by 3. Okay, so when we're doing that, okay, we will get 2 rows and 3 columns. I want to know what this answer right here is. So that is going to be the second row times the third column. So what you guys show me is C23 equals, okay, it will be 0 times 4 plus 3 times negative 3 plus 6 times 1. And that's going to equal 0 minus 9 plus 6, which is negative 3. So C23 equals negative 3. Okay, that's it. You don't need to find anything else. Don't need to type it in your calculator. You just need to be out, and you have to show me, okay, how you got those values. Okay, so that's C23 is negative 3. All right, we did a few of these earlier. Inverse and identity. It's going to be really important that you have a good understanding of inverse and identity. B inverse is negative 2, 1, 5, 2. It says find A if AB equals this value here. And this goes back to how we kind of multiply. And with the commutative property not true, it depends on whether you multiply on the left or on the right. So basically what you have here is you multiply B inverse times AB, that's fine, but that doesn't give us the answer. If you switch the order and you put AB first, that aligns the B times the B inverse. And anytime you multiply in this format, okay, B times B inverse, that gives you the identity, and that'll give us A. So this type of problem is going to be dependent on whether you multiply on the left or on the right. It'll depend on what you were given. Okay, so we have to, in this case, multiply on the right. So you have to take AB, which is negative 1, 4, 0, 2, times negative 2, 1, 5, 2. And that's going to give us a 2 by 2. So I take negative 1, 4 here. Negative 1 times negative 2 is 2. Plus 20 is 22. And then I'm just going to do this as negative 1 plus 8 is 7. Then we take 0, 2 times negative 2, 5. 0 times negative 2 is 0, plus 10, and 0 plus 4. So you'll get two different answers based upon whether you multiply on the left or the right. Only one is correct. Okay, now if I had given you, instead of AB, I gave you BA, and then you would have multiplied on the left. So it just all depends. All depends upon the situation what's given, but you want to get, so B times B inverse gives you the identity. B times B inverse gives you the identity. Now remember the identity for a 2 by 2 is 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay, 1, 0, 0, 1. And so that comes up here. If A and B are inverses, find small a and find small b. Okay, find small a and small b. Now, for inverses, the inverse of a, we did the equation for a equals a, b, c, d. We did it's 1 over AD minus BC times DA, negative B, negative C. And you can write that down. And that can get you this answer here, and that's fine. I'm going to do it a different way. If you want to start with this and figure that out, you can. I think that's how a lot of you did it on the first one. But it doesn't, match up 100%. So you got to be careful there. So what I'm going to do is I know that A times B equals I, the identity, because they're inverses. So that means 4, negative 5, and A2 times 4B, 3, 8 has to equal 1, 0, 0, 1. So that means that when I multiply here, okay, that's 16 plus negative 15, that equals 1. Okay, that works. But then I want to multiply here, 4 times B, okay, plus negative 5 times 4, that has to equal that, has to equal 0. Okay, so that's how I can figure out what B is. And now here's how I figure out what A is. This row times this column has to equal that 0. So A times 4 plus 2 times 3 is 6, has to equal 0. So I add 40, and I get 4B equals 40 divided by 4. B equals 10. Subtract 6. I get 4A equals negative 6. And that'll reduce to negative 3/2. All right, this one is not as easy because like in some of the earlier ones, like A and D flip, well, you go 4 and 2. When you flip it, it's not 2 and 4 because that means there was a number there because AD minus BC was our number. You may be able to kind of figure that out, but to me, this problem here might be a little bit easier if I use the fact that A times B has to equal 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay, so B is going to be 10, which would be right there, and then A is negative 3/2. Okay, that'll make those inverses. So you got to be careful on that one. All right, find the determinant. All right, you've got to understand when you see this notation, when you see these what look like absolute value bars, okay, that is the determinant. That is not a, you're finding the determinant of that matrix. That is not a matrix in and of itself. It is a determinant. For a 3 by 3, and especially one with variables in it, you cannot throw this in your calculator. If it didn't have variables, you could. And now you copy the first 2 columns down, and we multiply. Hold on. Okay, from left to right. That's how we get our first set. And I got x times 7 times 1, which is 7x, plus negative 2y, plus 16, minus, and then we have multiply this way. And then what do I get there? Don't want to make sure I can see them. That's what, 4y plus 4x minus 14 plus negative 14. All right, but make sure in this case here you distribute. This is just what, 7x minus 2y plus 16 minus 4y minus 4x, and then that becomes plus 16. So my determinant now, I just simplify. I get 3x minus 6y. That should be a 14 plus 30. Okay, 3x minus 6y plus 30. And there's your, and that's all you need for that one. Done. Find your determinant. All right, now when it says solve using any method, you can, I would not do this by hand. You can, when I'm doing this, I'm doing the ax equals b, and I'm doing x equals a inverse times b. And you can let your calculator do all the work. Here's what you need to show me, though. You need to show me the matrix equation, which would be the coefficients 1, negative 2, 3, 2, negative 3, 1, 3, negative 1, 2, times x, y, z equals negative 2, 9, 5. And so x, so this is your a times x equals b. So the answer is x equals the a inverse times b. And you don't need to go through the steps to go from here to here. That is fine. But this is all it means. And you're going to take the inverse of 1, negative 2, 3, 2, negative 3, 1, 3, negative 1, 2, inverse times negative 2, 9, 5. And let your calculator do the work. You do not have to do anything by hand at this point. So I'm going to second matrix, edit. I'm going to put in a 3 by 3. And I got to make sure I don't just mistakenly put in a wrong number. One, negative 2, 3, 2, negative 3, 1, 3, negative 1, 2. And go to matrix. Whoops. Go to matrix B. Oh, maybe I was there. That's a 3 by 1. And that is going to be negative 2, 9, 5. I don't need to know what the inverse matrix is, because when you type this in, you do matrix A, and you just hit inverse right there, and then second matrix B, and multiply those together, and we get 3, negative 2, negative 3. So X, Y, Z, and what do I have? 3, negative 2, negative 3. Okay, for our solution. So when it says use any method, I guess you could do it by hand, but this is going to be a time situation then, okay? Because like, again, if you make a mistake like I did, then you're going to be stuck. So I would just use your calculator for that. All right, now Cramer's rule. You'll see something like this where I will give you Cramer's rule to solve for a specific variable. So you don't have to go through 4 determinants. And this will let me know whether you know how to use Cramer's rule. Cramer's rule, remember, x equals d sub x divided by d, y equals d sub y divided by d, and z equals d sub z divided by d. So you got to know all 3. You're going to have to know them, but in this case, you only use 1. We just find the z, and do not find the other ones. I will take off points if you do. It means you're not following directions. So for Z, I got to find D, which is just the determinant of the coefficients 1, -2, 3, 2, -3, 1, 3, -1, 2. Now, if you notice, this is just the last example. Okay, this is no different. So we actually already know the answer. It won't be like that in the test. I'll give you a different one. But just so we know the answer. And then D sub Z, you take out the Z, and I got 1, 2, 3, -2, -3, -1. And then you take out the Z's and we put in -2, 9, 5. Use your calculator. I would not do this by hand. Now we already have D in there, which would be 1, or A, matrix A. So let me double check it. So 1, -2, 3, 2, -3, 1. And so you can just hit matrix math determinant. I didn't hit A, it looks like. So second matrix math, and then second matrix A, and we get 18. And now we got to find D sub Z. Now I'm going to have to put that one in. So I'm going to go to matrix B. This is a 3 by 3 and 1, -2, -2, 2, -3, 9, 3, -1, 5. Just make sure you're putting in the right matrix. And I get -54. And so we know Z is D sub Z divided by D, which is -54 divided by 18, which equals -3. And that's all I want for Cramer's rule. I ask for X, Y, or Z. May not be Z. It could be X or Y. One of the three. You do not have to find all three for that. Okay, a word problem. For these, once you set it up, you can use your matrices to solve. Okay, once you set it up, you can use your matrices to solve it. So the sum of a student's 3 scores is 211. X plus Y plus Z equals 211. If the first is 18 points more than the second, so the first is 18 more than the second, so X equals Y plus 18, and the sum of the first two is 4 more than twice a third, so X plus Y, and the sum of the first two is 4 more than twice a third. Find all three scores. Well, one thing you got to do is, if you're going to use matrices, you got to get it in the right format. You got X plus Y plus Z equals 211. We got X minus Y equals 18, and I got X plus Y minus 2Z equals 4. And now I'm going to use AX equals B, and I'm going to use X equals A inverse times B. So for any word problem, only the first two you're going to have to do by longhand. Okay, after that, you can use, and it says anything, you can use Cramer's rule if you want to, or you can use this. To me, this is easier. I got 1, 1, 1. I got 1, -1. If there's no Z, put a 0. I got 1, 1, -2 times X, Y, Z equals 211, 18, and 4. So X, Y, Z equals 1, 1, 1, 1, -1, 0, 1, 1, -2, inverse times 211, 18, 4. And let's see what we get there. So second matrix edit. Matrix A is a 3 by 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, negative 1, 0, 1, 1, 2. Second matrix, edit, matrix B. It's a 3 by 1. Whoops. And I get 211, 18, and 4. And so we're going to take second matrix A, the inverse of that, times second matrix B. And I get something I don't want to see. I can't have negative 207. Let me just do a quick double check. Let me check my matrices. 1, 1, 1, negative 1, 0, 1, 1, negative 2, and I got a 2 there. All right. Hopefully you put that in correct. So now let's try this again. Second matrix A, inverse, second matrix B, and that looks a lot better. All right, so the first one was an 80, next one was a 62, third one was a 69. And so you can double check here how they relate. X equals Y plus 18. Yep, it's 18 more, and just double check there. But those would be your 3 scores for that. Okay, now here's your assignment. I'm going to pause this and see if I can go back and figure out number 1. All right, so some of you probably already caught this and were probably yelling at the screen when I screwed this up. But here's what I went back and figured out is negative 7 times 17 is negative 119. So right there, that's just going to lead you to all kind of troubles if you're not careful, like I wasn't. So right here, so now negative 119 plus 38 gives me negative 81. And then I got negative 81 divided by negative 27. That is 3. Okay. Now from here, we can figure out the rest. Pick one of these 2 equations. I got 5x minus y equals 17. We got x equals 3. So 5 times 3 is 15 minus y equals 17. Subtract 15. I get 2 divided by negative 1. I get negative 2 for that. And now for z, you go just pick one of your originals. Let's just do the first one, 3x plus 3y plus z equals 5. 3x plus 3y plus z equals 5. And we know x is 3. We know y is negative 2. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So that gives me 3 plus z equals 5. And then looks like z equals 2. And my order triple would be 3, negative 2, 2. All right, so I highly suggest something like that. You get stuck. It's not working out. I'm going to give you whole numbers. I'm telling you that now. And then move on and then come back to it later. Okay, we've got Canvas conferences today and Wednesday, and then we'll throw in one Wednesday night. One thing I will tell you about on the test here, you will see a problem or two that is not specifically exactly like anything you've seen. Okay, a little bit of non-routine. You have all the information to solve it, but it may not have been one we've done specifically in a homework. You just have to make sure you understand what is going on and just apply your knowledge. Okay, apply your knowledge. All right, here's your review assignment again. Do these two by hand like we just did, and then page 930. All right, have a good day, and we will talk to you later.